About this love. About this. About this love. About this love. Love. How you guys doing this week? You're tuning into About This Love podcast with myself, Dale Skinner, and my wife, Sherelle.
Hey.
Say what's up to the people.
What's up, peoples?
Thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys enjoyed the podcast on last week. This is just a continuation of last week's podcast. What's holding you back? This is going to be a continuation, kind of the same title, but maybe switching up a little bit of the theme, with adding a female perspective to it, with my wife being here. But just thank you guys for tuning in, and let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. You said it was called, what was last week?
What's holding you back?
What's holding you back? What's that song by Chingy? Every time I try to leave, something keep... Oh, no, that's pulling me back, not holding me back. Oh, okay.
The people that's like 19, 20 have no idea what you talking about.
Oh. I mean, everybody know Chingaling. No?
I keep telling my wife she crossing that 30, she crossing that 30 threshold.
Nah, I'm 20 young. I'm 20 young until further notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last week I really did enjoy listening to last week's podcast myself, because that was something you recorded, when it was just you. And even though you and I have a lot of conversation around it, just around, I guess I want to say, like, business ventures, life ventures, relationships, pursuing goals and dreams. It's like, I think it was really good and encouraging for me just to hear your perspective on things, and, just hear our conversation, just being shared, just to encourage others. I definitely thought about, those people who are perfectionists, so they don't ever want to start anything or pursue something because they're just perfectionists. I think one of the questions that you asked, aside from what's holding you back, you were saying, like, is it money? Is it circumstances? And I was just thinking, well, sometimes people could just be perfectionists. Like, you're afraid to start because it's not perfect. I know that you and I, like, starting our business, starting a podcast, putting anything out there. I'm just like, no, Dale, let's just wait. And you're just like, yeah, but Bama's be in a living room. What you told me that one time? We were looking at a video. You were like, man, this Bama was getting his hair braided
in the
dark. And I'm just like, yeah, but I mean, if we have the tools to kind of,
put out a solid project.
Put out a better, present a even better picture than Bama's hanging up a sheet in a living room.
What?
I mean, no shade. No. Remember that one video we did where I was interviewing you?
Not.
Okay, well, we may link the video in the description. No, the one video where we took, like, a black sheet and put it over the table, and it was about, like, some music you had released. Okay, all right, you looking at me now.
What you talking about?
Okay, well, once we find it, or if we find it, I'll put it in the description. He think I'm trying to throw shade because he making faces at me. He cutting his eyes. But no, I mean, just I believe that some things that could be holding me back from, just pursuing a goal or a dream is, perfectionism. A lot of times it's like, well, I don't have, this, or I don't have that. And so that's why I hadn't started yet. Oh my gosh. Prime example. I remember when I first started doing hair, like when I first got out of beauty school, and I was able to finally take my my exam and I became licensed. I had went to a salon. I was already working in a salon, but I had been there since before, I had been there since I was a teenager. And now it's like, okay, I want to roll with the big dogs. I want to be in this, in this, I guess, high-end salon or whatever. And, the owner asked me, like, I came in for an interview and the owner asked me, well, where's your stuff? Well, where's your this? Where's your that? And I was like, I don't have. And he was like, so? And I just kind of was taken back, like, well, how can I go and do hair if I don't have the tools that I need? And he's just looking at me like, so? I mean, you came here for an interview and you didn't bring what you had with you. And I mean, oftentimes we find that, that right there, really, really hit me because it's like we find that we don't the things that we think we need to start, we really don't need it. Because then you see like young kids out here in the street, they don't even have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of, but then they still make do, or they
Yeah.
still make a business, or they still pursue their dreams. Or oh my gosh, have I showed you the video of there's this artist, I don't even think he has hands, and he paints with
Mouth.
his mouth or his ear. It's something like that. It's really amazing. Like he takes the paintbrush and puts it like in his mouth. Or
No, I don't think I've seen it before.
I mean, but that right there, like no excuses, right?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, whatever is holding a person back. My thing is, or whatever you put out, whether it's music or videos or doing hair or beating on the drums, just put out a quality piece or a quality work. Oftentimes, like I always offer to my wife, it kind of gets me upset when I see people online who have great content as far as videos and what they're talking about, but the actual audio or video is crappy. And then you see people who ain't talking about nothing, and they audio and video is superb. So it's if if you don't have those, if you don't have the tools to put out a good quality, piece or project or work, then maybe that's what's holding you back. Or maybe you should be held back. Kind
What?
of kind of joking around. Maybe just saying, at least put some thought and effort. Just to whatever you put out there, just make sure it's good quality. It's all is all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, like, okay, you say good quality, but who's to determine that something's good quality with like trend, like content trends changing and things like that? I mean, not only good quality, but let's say you have a passion for things, but then mm, your budget ain't really matching your passion. You know what I'm saying? Like your budget is not matching that. Is not matching that.
Yeah. So you saying so a lack of financial resources could be is the could be holding people back. Is that what you're saying?
Um. Yes, that is what I'm saying. Because like prime example, I mean, I know you gave the example that like when we first started our business, we were there's a lot of things that we had to discuss and we had to consider, and it's like, well, one, is that going to be taken away from our our food? Is that going to be taken away from our household income? You know, is that
Mm.
taken away from our resources? What is our budget? I think it's different like when you're by yourself, or no, even when you're by yourself. Um, like who's gonna be supporting you? Who like are you gonna be sleeping on somebody's couch or
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the question that I ask myself, and I even ask people, not like ask them to the face, but ask them in my mind. It's like, well, how bad do you really want it? Like, what's really holding you back? Because like when you hear stories like Tyler Perry, who was homeless and slept in his car, or was it Kevin Hart too, or am I mistaken?
no? I don't think Kevin Hart was sleeping in his car. He was married though.
Okay,
He had been in behind the scenes for a while.
I think I'm talking about Sean Kingston, the oh beautiful
Oh
girl.
Lord.
But my point being is like, if you could ask, like, talk to them or see where they're at in life now, it's like, well, and ask them, what's holding you back. Obviously nothing was holding them back, because if you're sleeping in your car, chances is you'll probably be scraping up money for food. And my point being is, oftentimes when we really think about the things that are holding us back, it's not really enough to hold us back. And again, I understand everyone's situation is different. Like I said on the previous podcast, you might be a single mom or dad out there with 2 or 3 kids. So I understand. I'm not saying one shoe fits all, but what I am saying is, oftentimes when you look at people who have literally come from nothing, to something, it's like, well, what's your excuse?
Well, you know what? I will say one thing. there was, well, no, that's a movie actually, so I won't reference that. But I think about generationally. Like we look at some of these like overnight millionaires or overnight celebrities, and it's like, oh well, dang, Drake for example. I know it was a big thing when when he was like started from the bottom. Now we're here, and then on social media, like kind of, went in and was like, oh, this is where he started from. He was like a child star, and he had a two-parent household with a pool in the backyard kind of thing.
Okay.
Huh?
I thought his dad lived in Memphis.
I mean, he probably live in Memphis now, but basically that's, I don't know. I guess before people were doing like background checks on celebrities, like at the time when that song came out, I know it was a big thing. Like, oh, he ain't start from no bottom because of his upbringing. Versus like there may be rappers out here who literally like it was just their mom and their dad was incarcerated, and and so they really had to go out there, sell drugs or kill and steal to kind of get the equipment that they needed to record to put their music out there, kind of thing. um and so I mean, I was just thinking about, and so I guess that would be like your example of circumstances. But for me, I was thinking more generationally where um not everyone is like Trump, where my father can loan me like $1 million or whatever to start my first business, or not
I,
loan,
I,
gift me.
I I understand that, and I think what I'm more so who I'm more so speaking to is people like me and you. And when I see me and you, because again, everybody's not like me and you, but like oftentimes, and again, since we started our business, two of my coworkers have also started their business as well, and I've helped them. Not about, but help them out. Just mean like talking to them, giving them the knowledge, and say it's not hard as you think. And what I'm saying is, oftentimes, what has held us back is just it's really just our own mental capacity, or our own mentality. It's like thinking that, well, I can't be a business owner, or I don't have the tools. It's like sometimes people will actually just pay not give you, but pay you for a certain skill or talent that you have, and you may not even be a legitimate. You may not have a legitimate LLC at that point. You know what I'm saying? It was like,
But still start, is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah.
Well, can I tell you this?
Yeah, people make cakes. We know
You said people
somebody that make cakes.
Oh, I was like, make cakes. Like, what type of cake they make?
Nah, like
No.
birthday cakes.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that, what that reminds me, like, once again, like back to when I was doing hair, I got really upset with the like hair community online versus like the hairstylists in real life, because like you would go to these salons and you'll see it's mostly, I felt like it was mostly the older hairstylists around the time where Instagram was becoming popular. Um and before, like, well, video was popular but not on Instagram and on Facebook as of yet at this time. But I would hear some of the older hairstylists like, oh yeah, they online doing it, you could do it too. And I'm just like, man, it's another like natural hair expo, or it's another whatever hair product brand that's reaching out to that will reach out to these girls that I would watch on YouTube. And I'm just like, but
They don't even have a license.
They don't even have a license. And it's like, man, if they could do it, but I mean, it's fear, because I know that a lot of times, well, fear and lack of motivation, because a lot of times it's like, well, yeah, there's makeup artists who are famous working with brands online, but there's people who went to school to do makeup artistry.
Yeah, I mean, and I know me. I'm big. I'm big on music. I'm big on music. As far as like listening to music, me and my wife, one of the services we offer with our business is we edit podcasts, edit audio, music, anything like that. So I'm big on listening to music, and oftentimes when I buy an album, I researched. I want to know, well, who's the producer, who's the engineer, and I'll look up who they are and see where they came from. And oftentimes it's Bama's that started like in a bedroom, who couldn't. I'm serious, who couldn't afford to go to music school, so they taught themselves. But now to think about that, now somebody is on a Drake album or on a Cardi B album who came from. Matter of fact, there was a girl. I think she wrote one of Cardi B songs. She was actually, I think she was like, she just turned 21.
I knew you was about
The
to.
girl,
She's in not in
she in
college, but she
college now.
was in college, right?
Yeah,
And now she's writing for Beyonce.
it's Beyonce, Cardi B, but just the idea that she would, because I mean, she was like, I didn't think my music would ever go anywhere. Like, keep it 100, I ain't think it would go nowhere. I was just writing music. Like, I ain't think it would go nowhere. But it's like the fact that she actually wrote the music and put it out there. It's like that's how it starts. Like it starts by you actually whatever desire or gift or talent you have, you doing it and you actually just putting it out there. If it's whack, Bama's gonna blast you. If it's good, you know, they still gonna blast you. But at least getting having the nerves, the courage to put it out there and see where it lands you, because it may land you nowhere. It may land you, $1 million contract. I mean, keep it 100. That's and oftentimes people don't realize with social media and YouTube and Instagram TV, we're actually in the age of millionaires. Where you can make a quick $1 million like nothing, because the social media and the YouTube and stuff is going to help promote your content for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say self-promotion.
Versus the old days, you had to hire advertisers and radio, but nowadays,
yeah, somebody had to put you on back in the day. Or I know the big thing, almost like Toni Braxton, how she was discovered. Like, you had to be discovered. She was discovered at a gas station. So it's like
was really?
Yeah, she was. You don't know Toni Braxton's story?
Nah.
In Severn, Maryland.
Gas station, nah.
Yeah. They heard her singing at the pump. And so now it's kind of like, I mean, do I go to my day job and I start singing and hope somebody record me and I go viral?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. There's people who have made money from going viral, things like that. I mean, I don't think that, okay, let's just take it back for a minute, because I did want to make sure we just kind of covered this in its fullness, not just going out and follow your passion, but what's your plan? What does that look like? So if you don't get discovered, if in the time of self-promoting online, if no one like catches on or rides the wave like of what you're trying to put out there, or they're not buying what you're selling, how do you go back to your family? What do you do? Or do you go to God, pray about it? I did want to say there's some friends of ours who they've been in business, but they had just gotten like a space to work out of that they had to pay rent for, that wasn't like their home. And it was very encouraging to me, because like this person shared with me, was like, man, it's been maybe a couple of days and I was getting discouraged. Like, I had my own space. So what do I do now? And what they said was, we just sat and we prayed. And I think, I think that should go hand in hand with, okay, well, no one's buying what I'm selling. What do I do? And I put it all on the line, because, for small business owners, we could feel like it's us putting our whole lives on the line, because we taking out of our mouths, maybe our children's mouths. So, it could be fear, but then it could also be, hey, money ain't coming in like these influencers are showing. Money's not like rolling in. I hadn't gone viral yet. So what's the next step?
You know what? I just want to interject real quick, and I want to, because you said money not rolling in like the influencers say, or like it is for them. And I think oftentimes one of the things that social media does, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, it kind of gives people like a false sense of reality, or some type of illusion or a facade. It's like, yeah, you may see somebody on YouTube with 1 million views or 100,000 views, but it's like, don't be deceived. They had to do some type of work behind the scenes that you and I will never know about.
Well, also,
and oftentimes I think that's that's actually the one skill or ability people do not have. Mm-hmm. People don't actually want to put in the work. Like, I was listening to a podcast by Gilly the Kid, me and I work with the gang, but he had I think a basketball player up there, and he was just saying how, if you want to play basketball, play every day, dribble the ball every day, practice every day, every hour. But he was just saying how if you want to be great, you have to like practice and play and practice like one of the greats. You can't just be like, yeah, I want to be great, at singing, but I sing twice a week. It's like you're not gonna be great doing that.
Well, hold on.
So the work ethics have to match the passion or the skill or the talent that you have and want to put forth for everybody on display for people to see.
Well, let's look at the practical ways to do that when you have a family, when you have a wife and children, husband and children, or you and your spouse, and money might be tight, and no, you can't quit your job. Like one spouse can't quit their job to pursue full time their passion. I think that in reality, you need to spend that time with your spouse, spend that time with your kids. They got school, they got this, they got that. And it's like, well, dang, it's no time for me. I think that, maybe carving out a schedule. Like, hey, I'm not going to watch TV. I know you had mentioned that in the previous podcast. Like, hey, you know what? We spent some time together. How about if we do maybe an hour of TV or an hour of a movie, hour 30 minutes, or how, like, I wouldn't even I guess, yeah, you got to start kind of be rigid. Like, and if we could do this together because, or if while, I need like 3 hours or so to pursue this, can you keep the kids? Or, you know what I'm saying? And also too, like, will you support me in that? Because I think that for you to just go ahead and do that is selfish. Remember, we were talking about, what was that movie? I was about to say Alimony. It's not Alimony. Acrimony with Taraji P. Henson. And we were talking about the husband and how, in a sense, we felt that he was selfish, even though eventually he became this millionaire, or multimillionaire. But in reality, it's almost like, you going to pursue your rap career, for like
bills be paid,
and we about to, and I just took out another loan, and I'm working 2-3 jobs, and you at home, and the lights off. Like, nah, that's in reality, nah, brothers. Like that ain't about to cut it.
Nah, yeah. There has to be a plan, a conversation, with yourself or with your spouse or significant other if you have one, and just like some practical ways we can do this. Whether it's actually getting a schedule, which is I know it may sound taboo. When I got married, one of my good friends who had been married, he's been married for like 12, 13 years now, and he told me, he was like, once kids got into the mix, him and his wife would actually have to schedule time for intimacy. And you married, you know what I'm talking about. I ain't got to say it, but when he said it, I was like schedule. I was like, man, you crazy? He was like, trust me, it sounds taboo now. He said, but when you guys are having multiple children, he was like, and you come home from work, tending to the kids and putting the kids to bed. He was like, dude, trust me. And when you guys get do all that, she's tired and you're tired for the day. He was like, trust me, it'll go, weeks can go by and you don't have no time for intimacy. He said, unless you carve out a schedule. He says, yes, I know it sounds very taboo. He says, but so what? And I just think that's true. You have to carve out a schedule for things that you want to do or goals. If you spend an hour a day or 30 minutes a day brainstorming, and then the next week you actually pursue or do what you brainstorm, but there has to be some type of practicality, and it has to be done in a responsible way. If you have children and a spouse, it can't just be like, I'm gonna just leave my wife and kids, in the house all week, and I'm gonna just go to the studio and rap. It's like,
like she understand.
Nah.
They understand. They gonna see, and it's like they gonna see, and your kids are like, they're having their own kids, and it's like, well, Daddy, we seen that you was just never home. Yeah. So I mean, that is a good point. We definitely need to have a schedule, and also too, I think that support would, because you know what, there's actually these two women. It's a mother-daughter who went into business together.
It's a mother.
It's a mother.
I know he was going with that. It's a mother.
I don't know. I mean, it could have been a mother.
It's a mother wife.
They look like they could be around the same age, but makeup and editing could be anything. But can do wonders for people. But they were flight attendants, and so I guess they use their 9 to 5. Like, okay, well, we get free flights. We get free flights, and what we can do is whatever our free flight is, whatever the business was, and it was a hair business, they had actually took their resources that they had allotted to them and was like, hey, whenever we have time off, we're going to take a flight to see our suppliers over in Asia so that we can start our hair business. And I think that took, of course that took planning, but that took months of, what, this is what we're going to do. What time do you have off? Like, and mom, are we doing this together? And so, I mean, they didn't quit their 9 to 5, but in the free time that they had, it was like, no, I need to do this. What does Dave Ramsey say? Live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else.
Yeah, live like no one else today, so you can live like no one else tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what that's what that would look like. It's like, what, on my days off, I don't think that the daughter had any children or have children, but it's kind of like, hey, this is my day off. Like, this is our goal. And together, mom and I, because we plan on being business partners, let's go out together, or let's like put this on the schedule together. I mean, even I had mentioned the influencers earlier, and I'm like, the influencers or YouTubers that I personally am drawn to is the ones who, like, I don't know, how can I explain it? Like, yes, they have fun, but I love their work ethic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, at the course of my life, I've been fortunate enough to come across a few millionaires and have had a conversation with them.
Like, y'all friends? You got them on caller ID?
We're not friends. But I do have his email address.
I mean, you've been in contact with him.
He's my Facebook friend. So, I mean, I've been in contact with him, and he's actually helped of two of my friends. Advised them in business. I met him. I'll spare the details, but my point being is, like, to actually be able to like sit down with someone who's a millionaire. And I know people are like, well, I know Jay-Z, Beyonce. Yeah, that's cool, but I don't know them personally, and I've never sat down and had a conversation with them. So to me, it's like, okay, cool, but it's like somebody that I don't want to say, well, to an extent I know, but someone that I've been in the presence of and been able to actually ask them, and they tell you, where they came from and their background. Because, I mean, keep it 100, it was a white guy. And when I seen him, I'm like, oh, man, here's this privileged white guy. It was what I'm thinking in my mind. But when he actually told me, like, I came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? I worked my way through through law school. I worked my way through, college. I was broke. I worked at a fast food place. That's how I ate food. It's like, but to hear somebody actually say that and say that they came from the bottom and actually had to work and grind. It's like and one thing he said, yeah, my other classmates, while they was partying, I was working and doing business ideas. It's like, but my point being is that, like, oftentimes the difference between a millionaire and a broke person with $1 million ideas is the work ethics. That's the only difference. The only difference is the work ethics. The work ethics have to be impeccable. And oftentimes,
in what way?
I mean, again, you when everybody else is partying, going to the club, sleeping with girls, sleeping with guys, you in a corner somewhere, in a room somewhere, planning ideas, brainstorming, researching, figuring out how to bring it to fruition. You working 3 or 4 jobs to get the money to do this, or talking to the right people to kind of make those connections. I mean, what I'm saying, it's not always money, but it's like you're doing something other than blowing or wasting your time.
Well, also too, I wanted to add to that. I think also going to others who are in the position, for advice. So
who own a business.
Yeah, who own a successful business, or businesses. I know the worst mistake that you can make. I mean, and same for relationships, same for parenting. Like, why would you go to somebody who has no kids about your child, about like, hey, my child's running a fever. You think I should go to the doctor's office? I mean, unless they're a nurse, Or, hey, my child is dealing with nightmares. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
would you go to like a single friend who, I mean, who doesn't have any nieces and nephews, and they, they don't live that lifestyle? No, you wouldn't. And so, in the same way, why would you not go to other business owners for advice, or go to those
For
who,
insight.
yeah, for
And
insight?
they'll give it to you too.
Some people do. It depends on what field, because I mean, my reference is the hair industry, and some of them, some of them older people, unless you're paying them for a class, it's kind of like, oh well, I mean,
Or working for free.
that's if they. I don't know. Like, I haven't been able to put my finger on it, but it's almost like one of those, like, the feeling that you're gonna come up and take my spot. And I think those people you should be leery of as well,
Anyways,
because
yeah.
it's like, well, there's so much, there's so many resources in this world. There's billions, if not trillions, of people in this world. And for you to be so small-minded and think that, well, you're going to take my little 5 clients, and, of course, more than 5 clients, but you're going to take my 5 clients in the area. There's so many people in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you, and what people have always reminded me, when I've like branched out to do other things, they're like, people want to come to you, for your personality, for what you have to offer. Even if the person, down the street, they may do it cheaper, they may do it faster.
That's true, because I mean, I do that. I'll drive a minute just to get a good quality product. That's just how I am. That's true. That's very true. I think that's. We were talking about when we were moving. When we were moving, my friends and family were like, "Why don't you guys just go on YouTube? I mean, not YouTube. Why don't you guys go on Facebook or on Craigslist and get free boxes?" And I said, well, one of my things is I hate being hassled, meaning that, like, I want to be able to go somewhere and just get what I want when I want it. I don't want to have to, message you and wait till you message me back and say, hey, we'll come here at 4:00, or I get off at 5. It's like, no, I want to just go there and get what I want and be gone, even if I have to pay for it, which is what I did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, which is what I did. And box was like $1, so it wasn't like I spent a whole lot of money, but that's just my personal. That's my personal mentality. I don't like to be hassled. So if I have to pay you $400 for something versus over here, it's $50, but it come with a hassle, I'll pay you the $400 just to be hassle free. That's just
for the quality.
That's just how I am. I mean, I don't know why. That's just I hate to be hassled. I remember I worked for Amtrak. We used to be when I used to catch the metro and DC, which is the subway and stuff, and some of them would let us get on for free because we were Amtrak, and some of them wouldn't. But it came to the point where I used to just pay, because I used to hate. Again, I hate being hassled. You're not gonna hassle me. Like, I'll just pay the money and be hassle free, which is what I did. But it's just a perfect example. I don't like. People will go and pay. People will go the distance and pay the dollar for the quality product.
Yeah.
That was the point. I went on a whole rant.
Yeah, you did. I was like, wait, we just telling people, don't worry about the quality, just do it, pursue your dreams. And nah, I pay for quality.
Hey, or hassle free.
Yeah, I definitely got what you were saying. Thanks for sharing that. So we're gonna wrap up this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
this is the end.
This is the end. Don't come back either. But no.
Not joking with y'all.
No.
We want you to come back.
Yeah, definitely come back. Share, if you like the conversation, in the comment section, just let us know what you think. Definitely share with those who you feel will be motivated by it. I think we want to close out by saying, we just want you to be motivated to, pursue those dreams, Dale.
Yeah, pursue those goals and dreams that you've always wanted to.
Yeah. But, be practical, be realistic, write it out, pray about it. There's steps that you need to take in order to see it through to fruition. And don't just go out there kind of cold turkey, but still don't let that stop you from achieving a goal, a major milestone in your life. So again, you can contact us, reach out to us, have a conversation with us on About This Love on Facebook and on Instagram.
And our audios are going to be on YouTube, Facebook videos, and Audio Mac as well. And if it's somewhere else, we'll definitely have the link in the description. But you definitely be able to listen to our podcast, stream our podcast on multiple platforms.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you guys for tuning back in for season 2 of About This Love.
Peace.